Alright, so I ramble when I make these videos, so I'm trying not to ramble as much as possible. So, this is about the Nintendo Switch, obviously, because that's the title. But more importantly, this is sort of about how information is handled in today's society. So, back in the day, if you wanted to see something about, like, a review for a console, you had to either, like, sometimes they would show it preview before the previews of movies. Sometimes they had there'd be TV shows that had, like, gaming news or whatever, or they had a little ad in the paper, or even you could buy a PlayStation magazine, Nintendo Life, I think it was called. Like, there was magazines for it. There was all these things. You had to go out of your way to get the information, though. And that's the big point. Nowadays, it's changed.
This is a very
right? A good example is that whole PewDiePie being anti-Semitic news I got. I didn't go looking for that. I went to a gaming news site that I often frequent just to see what kind of bullshit they're posting, and that was one of the things that popped up. That's actually how I heard about it, was that a gaming news site knew it would get clicks, so they put it there. That's the only reason I heard about it, is because of them. I typed it in a few times just to see what would pop up, and holy shit, it spread like wildfire. So, that's kind of proves the point in itself. But the best way to prove it, and the whole thing this video is about, is the Switch. So let's use the Switch, right? So the thing with this is, and the best example, because it's actually not even an example, it's happened, I've seen it, so, you know, the best proof would be the better way to say it, is that I go on a forum, and I was looking for information about the Switch. I was asking to see if anyone had any actual hard statistics about the defective unit shipment rate. So like how percentage or number or anything. And just so I could get an actual number rather than what people are saying or what people are assuming. Now when I went there were some people who were saying, yeah, it just released, we're not going to have those stats for at least a couple of weeks, if not a month or two. And other people were saying, you know, it's probably about 5%, which in terms of hardware sales, that is an acceptable number. Other people, of course, were saying it's high as 75%, and when asked why, they said, eat a dick, basically. They didn't actually have reasons, they didn't have any facts, they didn't have anything to back it up, they just said it is, therefore it must be. Things like that. But the big part, and the big problem with that is, when I went on, there was, I don't even know, like 6, maybe 7 different topics all created using the exact same video. The exact same video someone posted on YouTube, and then these people reposted on this website to show how the Switch is going to fail and how they're shipping such defective units and, oh, it's 98% failure rate and all these different things. But the fact is it's just one video being repeatedly posted by different people. And that's the thing with information nowadays. Is back in the day you had to go looking for it or you had to wait. Nowadays it's there. That's it, period. It's there. It's ever present. Such as the PewDiePie being an anti-Semitic person thing. Like, I didn't go looking for that. It happened to appear before me, and then I found out about it. That's it. That's how it works. So, like, with the Switch, this guy makes a video. Now, I don't know if it was an unboxing or not. I haven't seen the video, because, like, when I saw the same thing in the titles and that, I ignored it, because it's literally just clickbait bullshit that no one should care about. And I don't mean the video, I mean the forum posts. But I didn't watch the video, and if it's not like an unboxing of him showing one-to-one, and it, like, no edited footage of him plugging in it and it being broken, there's no way to know he didn't break it on purpose. There's no way to know they didn't do something to alter it just to be a bag of dicks. Like, that's something people will do that because it brings them in money, because there's a business behind false information, and there's a business behind doing things like this for money, because that's a business. It's actual a business now, and it's not about misinformation. It's just about the information they're putting out. So just to give you an idea, before I even say anything else about the Switch, stats, right? PS4 launched with 10,000 defective units, reportedly. That's 1%. That is within the acceptable range of defective units. The Xbox One, it was about 5%, 6%, I think. Still within acceptable ranges. The Switch is probably, even if it has launched with 5 to 10%, That's 50 to 100,000. That's within the acceptable rate of defective units that it's acceptable. Like that's just, it's an acceptable thing. Like that stuff happens. Now, the problem with this is, say it does ship with 1%, which is 20,000 units. And say every one of those people goes on a different like website or forum or YouTube or whatever, and they all post videos or they all post things talking about their broken console. That information is now out there, and there's no way to actually maintain and say, hey, look, here's how many there actually are. So then, like, you could, but you'd have to go through every single post and see that every single one was a different one, and then you have to compile it all together and say, this is how many it was, which would take way too long. So, think about Facebook. A lot of people have tons of friends on Facebook. I know this girl, she has like 700 friends. She talks to like one of them, I think. But she goes on Facebook, and say she reads the Nintendo Switch is a pile of shit, and it makes your kids autistic, and it makes your dog kill itself. Whatever. And it gives you AIDS. She's going to take that, put it on Facebook, and then those 600 people or 700 people or whatever are going to see it. And say even just 50 of them take that and go, oh my god, I can't believe this, and they post it on theirs. Then that spreads the information out. So now a single post becomes a single post that is being seen by millions of people, sort of thing. It just keeps spreading out like a virus. And then it gets taken in, and then that becomes it's not even true, but it becomes the truth. It becomes what people believe, even though it's not true. And eventually it'll go away and people will forget it even ever happened. But the fact that it can happen in that sort of fashion is the biggest problem here. And it's not about how many are actually defective, it's more about how it's being handled. Is the information is there, so it's being spread out. Just like the forum I go to. It's the same video, but that one video is being spread out amongst multiple posts, and it's making it look worse than it actually is, because it's like, oh, Nintendo Switch failing, oh no, and you click on the link and you go, oh god, no, and you watch the video and you go, oh no, and then you go through every single one and you go, oh, they're just reposting, never mind then. And if you see it like that, that's fine. But if you see just one of those posts and you click on just one of them, you're going to think that's a big deal. And then you're going to show that to other people. But if you find out it's just one video versus like 10,000 or whatever, it's nothing. It's statistical acceptability. So that's that. Now let's talk about the actual issues with the Switch. There are certain things like the controllers are going out of sync, sort of, or sometimes. People are saying if you put the Joy-Cons on the wrong way, it just breaks. And it's like, well, then don't put it on that way, dumbass. Don't, like, unless it's literally like the Xbox One shipped with a thing where you can just press, like, then it was like left trigger, left bumper, right trigger, right bumper, and then choose 3 things in the menu and it suddenly bricks your console. If it's something like that, that's one thing. But if it's literally like you have to go looking for it to get your controller in a way just so that it breaks it, you kind of deserve that. Like, I mean, like, if you actually have to try to do it to get it to work, you're an asshole and you deserve that. So that's that, right? Like, there are things that happen and it's unfortunate, but as long as it's not like over 40%, it's acceptable. And as much as it pains some people to believe that, it is. So there's that. The dead pixel thing, in terms of industry standards, anything under 5 dead pixels is acceptable, and it's not considered a defect. It doesn't matter how much you complain. It doesn't matter how much you want to whine about it. It doesn't matter how angry you get about it. Anything under 5 is an industry standard of acceptable and not defective. Under 5. So when people say I have a dead pixel on my screen and they won't say it's defective, it's because in terms of industry standards, that's not defective. It's not Nintendo's fault. That's literally how the industry does it. That's an industry standard. And the thing is as screens increase in resolution, dead pixels become less noticeable. But given that it's a tiny screen and there's X amount of pixels on it, it's super noticeable, and that's unfortunate. But it's still within the industry standard of acceptable and non-defective. And I think that's like the horrible, and there's already this article, I've seen it multiple times, people are like, oh, look at this article, saying that Nintendo has said that, you know, it's not defect. It's not a defect, and it's just poorly worded. It's dead pixels are an unfortunate side effect of the way screens happen nowadays, and it's technically not a defect, unless it's over a certain amount. Having 2 or 3, that's not the defect. 4, still not a defect. 5 and up, then you consider it a defect. So that's just like to give you clarity on that. Like, there's a lot of information that's going around about how it's broken and not working, but there's less information going around about how it works fine. Because the people who have fun doing it, the people who have no problem with it, they don't complain. The people who complain are the ones who are having issues. Right? Like, a good example of this, and this is going to be the last thing I say, is the game Mag, which was the first gaming video I ever put up on any channel. It's long gone. You're never going to see that. But Mag. In Mag, there was a area in which a sniper could lay down and cover fire on anyone coming up. And the reason why you do that is because it came right up next to like the spawn, where you would drop down over a ledge to rush the enemy bases. Now, a majority of people had no problem with that. A majority of people liked it because there was cover on both sides, but there was an opening that you had to run across to get to the other side to basically spawn camp. The problem was the loud minority complained and complained and complained so much that the developers bankrupt their company. Okay, that's true, but not actually what happened. But it was so much complaining that they listened to those people and they altered the map, putting boxes and trees in the way so people could no longer cover that area. And I don't mean just like camp, but you couldn't cover the spot, so they could just run right up to your spawn pretty much, and the second you drop down, they could just wipe out your team or your squad or whatever because they complained to get that. And it's like that's the thing that's going on here is it's not the people who are okay with the Switch. You don't hear anyone talking about that. You don't hear the group of people, the majority sitting down playing the game and having no problems with it. They're not going to go on forums and post, "Hey guys, my Switch works fine, there's no problems with it, there's no dead pixels," because no one thinks of doing that. Whereas the second something bad goes wrong, you gotta complain. And it's that whole idea of this squeaky wheel gets the grease. So I hope I didn't ramble too much, but the whole idea, and I'm going to summarize this right now, 110%, is the Switch's launch until we see actual hard statistics about the actual defective rate. We can't believe everything we see. We can't believe that every single post is, indicative of 9% or 10% or 2% or whatever. You have to take it in terms of 2 million were sold, how many are actually defective, and can we get a number on that? And also, it's unfortunate that dead pixels under 5, under number 5, is not a defect. That's unfortunate, but that's also true. Google it. There you go. Thanks for watching. Till a bit.